Well, welcome to another edition of the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV, our new home on YouTube. Before we get going on this afternoon show, can we just say a massive thank you from myself and Craig to all our new subscribers. This is our new home. It is Show Me the Money Rugby League TV on YouTube. So the more subscribers, the more views we get, the more successful your favourite rugby league topic and discussion and podcast show will certainly be, Craig, won't it?
Well, and we said at the end of this show, Mick will be asking people for a question, and the winner of the question gets free tickets to any game of their choice. Or we can organise the top, try and get signed from a player, but we will do some every week, Mick. You've got to be subscribed to be able to enter it. So thank you.
So yeah, if you're a subscriber to Show Me the Money Rugby League TV, there'll be a simple question at the end. If you answer that correctly in the comments, because obviously this show does premiere and go out on YouTube and we can see the live comments, we'll certainly pick one of those correct entries out at random and we'll announce the winner next week. We've already had previous competition winners, Emma, of course, who won the Sign Leeds Rhinos top just before Christmas, before we had the break. But we're back and we're consistent, so that's the main thing. Craig, first things first, it was the Challenge Cup this weekend. There was the quarter-final stage. Was there any real shocks? We'll just quickly go through the results and then we'll talk about the games individually. Caroline Dragons 20, St Helens 36, Huddersfield Giants 24, Hull FC 16. It was Ulster Rovers 34, Castleford Tigers 10 on Friday evening, and of course that game on Sunday afternoon, Wakefield 6, Wigan 36. By and large, I don't think there was any shocks against our predictions last week.
Yeah, I probably had a Hull, maybe Huddersfield. That was the one I thought that, and watching the game, I know Ian Watson uses a word called process, but God, they can do it. They can actually stay in the arm wrestle, stay in it and keep patient. And I think they just outworked Hull in the end, which I'm sure Brett Hodgson will be thinking that's happened the last twice, where they've been in games, the Wigan, and they've been in games at Huddersfield, but they're just coming off. Now, whether that's a fitness thing or whether because they're recruiting top-heavy players, Mick, they've got big, powerful players, but you're gonna gas quite quick. So I think they've got to readjust a little bit, Hull. I was saying this to a few people the other day. I think Hull are very dangerous if they get field position, Mick. If you get field position, Hull will convert on you. But they've got to roll you to get there. If they don't, I don't think they can go from deep. I don't think they've got enough natural pace. And that's what I'm sure Hull are looking at that and trying to get some more speed in it. But that was the only one, Mick. I think the rest of them probably went according to... I thought Wakefield were great again, though. I mean... Big shout out to Michael Carter. Honestly, I can't think enough. I just like what they're doing, and I spoke to Michael about it and said, how's the fans handling defeats, Michael? He said, you know what, Craig? He said, the fans are right behind us because they can see what we're trying to do. Playing an open brand of rugby. We're playing our younger players, and they're getting game time, and these kids are going to be superb, Mick, in a couple of years. I'm biased, and we're on show with TV, so I can be biased. But Lewis Murphy and Corey Hall, come on. A 19-year-old Mick, 19-year-old playing against John Bateman and Zach Hardacre. And they held their own throughout the game, physically, talent-wise, and he could have got 2 tries, Lewis. But the defensive tackle he put on, the clip where he went across and stopped the try, sensational. Corey's becoming a player. I can't speak highly enough. But I just love the way Wakey play. I enjoy it, and I think they had a few players out, and they might have got closer. Jai Fields, Mick. We've all got to be part of the Jai Fields.
Unbelievable.
It could be one of the best we've seen.
Unbelievable.
I think he could be the most... Do you know what's exciting, Mick, about him? We talked about Bevan 15 months ago last year being the most exciting player we've had for... I think Jai's better than Bevan, which is not saying better, that's wrong to say, but he just looks a little more... I think Bevan's a free player, plays what he sees. I think this lad's got it all. Absolutely sensational.
He's certainly got the wow factor.
He's got the wow, and it's what we need, isn't it?
Oh, unbelievable. The tries he scored earlier on in the season against Leeds, the tries he's been scoring against Hull FC, the tries he scored on Sunday against Wakefield, they're eye-catching. They're on all the highlights, the Sky Sports highlights, the BBC highlights. Like you say, Lewis Murphy, fantastic defensive effort. I've not seen that full game, but I have seen the highlights. And, at 19 years of age, Craig, to go for that corner. Forget about the player. He went for that ball to punch that out there. Tremendous maturity at such a young age.
Mick, they came here a week on Monday ago. We had a game of basketball, but a breakfast. We had some, chat together with him and Corey, and both lovely lads as well. But one thing we noticed about Lewis is he was sat there, we were playing football, and he just caught this ball. His hands, Mickey's hands are double mine. His hands are like, it's like that. I think when he gets even more used to it, his grip is the way he has. Listen, some athletes, some players, let's not talk. They've got to let the football do the talking. But very exciting times, Mick. I think the Challenge Cup could be the most exciting Challenge Cup. Would you like Hull in there to play Hull KR? Let's be a bit biased. Let's say, would we like Hull Derby and then Saints v Wigan? Would that be the dream?
From an RFL strategic marketing point of view, Ralph Rimmer, Mark Foster, the rest of the people at the RFL, that gets the mouth watering. If you've got 80 minutes of knockout rugby league and you've got St Helens versus Wigan and then you've got the Hull Derby at Ellen Road, let me tell you, that would sell out in record time. That would sell out in record time. I still think it's going to sell out now. I know they're not opening the top part of the stadium. It's got about 31,000. I'm hoping we can get a sellout. I mean, a couple of years ago, before COVID, we ended up with 25,000 people at Bolton for the St Helens Halifax games. I forget who Warrington were playing. Warrington were playing someone. But yeah, we've got the women's final there at Ellen Road at 11:30. Then obviously we've got Wigan Saints at 3, 5 o'clock. We've got Huddersfield versus Hulkington Rovers. Look, I'll be a bit disappointed if we cannot sell that out. I mean, Wigan Saints, it's a sellout at Langtree Park, the totally wicked stadium, on Friday, Craig. So if you're getting 18,000, 19,000 people to a standalone Super League game, you're 80 minutes away from Wembley. I think Ellen Road's going to sell out in record time regardless. But yeah, Hull FC just couldn't keep up their side of the bargain. But Hulkington Rovers on Friday night, Craig, again, you're seeing the real emergence of Rowan Milnes. He's somebody we've focused on this show a number of years now, and I think he's maturing, again, to use that word. And I think we really are seeing... we know Mikey Lewis is out injured, by the way, for the next 6 to 8 weeks, so that's obviously going to give Rowan Milnes stability in that role. But, oh, wow, Hulkington Rovers. Start of the season, Craig, I was watching them, and there was some lacklustre, even mediocre performances. They've took a while to get going, but now, full steam ahead. Oh.
You know what, Matt Parcell's playing, I watched him, he's playing on top of his game. Rowan was sublime, there's no doubt. Mikey's been a sensation. Rowan's not had enough time to show what he can do, but there were touches of the day that what we've said, a special player. One of the old school players, Mickey, can play. I get a lot of people who question Rowan and they say, "Is he slow?" I said, "No, that's just he makes the game look slow because he's that good. He doesn't rush himself. Everything's patient. He's got this lovely way of playing with the composure. Wow, he's 6'3", Mick. We've said this before. This is not normal. This is a 6'3" halfback, 100 kilo halfback, who's not played progressive games. If he gets some games in, Mick, you're going to see something really special, in my opinion. And I know, obviously, I spoke to Mikey as soon as he did his interview. We discussed things, and sometimes I said this. I don't know if this works. I said this a lot. I bet you a lot of my players would laugh, but you're literally going to have 2.5 years, Mick, on average, injured in rugby league. Whether it comes at start, middle, end. You don't want it to end when you're 32 and you're out of contract. You probably want it now. So part of you being a rugby player is, Mick, you're probably going to have 2.5 years of being sidelined. That is just fact history. So Mikey, I said, this could play your best games when you don't play. People miss you. You can take a step back, look at your game. So it's not... I tried to be really positive for Mikey. But I'll tell you now, Mick, I've handled Danny Maguire. We've handled them from all that. They've always adding... It's just part of being a rugby league player. Mikey will learn mentally stronger. They start to miss the game, Mick. When you get a lot of games, sometimes rugby players can come off a bit. When they get that break, they miss it. So there's a little bit more appetite. So listen, Hull KR are back on the horse. It changes weekly, doesn't it? You look at that. I'm looking at the draw for semi. You're looking at that and you say, Wigan, Saints. I personally think it could be one of the... As with this week, but we'll stay back. That semi-final could be the most mouth-watering. I just think they're going to throw everything at each other. Huddersfield. Wow, I don't want to play Huddersfield at the moment, if you're anybody.
Well, we said last week on this show on our return, for me personally, pound for pound, in Super League, Huddersfield, head and shoulders above everybody else, because with St Helens, you come to expect it. With Wigan under Matty Pete, you come to expect it. Huddersfield, after 2 seasons with Ian Watson in charge, they've missed out on the playoffs, they've been in relegation battles, they've been struggling in their low mid-table positions. To be up there now, and as you quite rightly say, it does say, trust the process, trust the process. Well, I'll tell you what, if this is trusting the process, whoever is going to be the new head coach of Leeds, Warrington fans turning on Darryl Powell, with no Lee Radford's under a bit of pressure at Castleford again, after that performance on Friday, you need to trust the process, because for me, Craig, Huddersfield didn't panic. They've allowed Ian Watson to take his time, assemble the players and the squad that he wants and those new systems. And I remember an interview with Adam O'Brien last season talking about what's it like under Ian Watson now, 12 months on. And Adam's puffing and panting. It's tough. It's tough. He's constantly, consistently, pushing us. We've never experienced anything like this before. The standards and the bar that Ian is setting at that club are so high. If you do not meet those aspirations and standards, you're out. You're going to be in a reserve fixture, playing in the reserves. But yeah, Craig, honestly, Huddersfield versus Hull KR, that Wigan St Helens. Obviously, we still don't know who's going to be in the Women's Challenge Cup final. But yeah, wow, unbelievable. And like I say, Craig, I'd urge anybody who's a neutral, buy your tickets, support the RFL, support the game, because that is going to look absolutely vibrant on the BBC, because all 3 games, back-to-back, they're on the BBC. And for a national broadcaster to dedicate over 8 hours of live rugby league coverage, that's unprecedented.
And I do. It's weird, Mick. I was at Newmarket yesterday. We got invited by, thankfully, by Godolphin, Mick. Some big hitters there.
Oh, he's throwing his name.
We was with the Sheik and his. No. We had a great time. Me and my friend Steve, and there was somebody in the box, and we're having the shampoo, Mick, as you do, and we're watching the races. And this guy said, "I used to watch rugby league years ago," and he said, "The same on what you get, minor fire. You got this, you got that." And I said, "When's the last time you came to a game?" He says, about 12 years ago. And I said, "Why? Can I ask you why you used to love rugby league?" "I just lost thing. I didn't even know it's on. I don't know. I don't understand." Again, we've got to use the platform of the semi-finals to say to everybody, they should put a fixture list on that, Mick, of next games, everything they can. I don't know if the BBC allow it, saying, look, if you're watching this for the first time, this is where the clubs all play. Maybe do that. It's another great idea, Mick, but I'll not get the thanks. We've done this 20 times. We're bored of talking about it. They'll all claim it. But if I'm asking you, if you're the bees, you see, to help the game, put a fixture list up of the week after and say, if you want to catch some rugby the week after, these games are on all around the country. This is the fixture list. It'll take 2 seconds to make 2 sheets and say it, because it's no good having 1 million viewers, Mick, if you're not going to sell the game going on. If you're just selling that Challenge Cup 1 game, you're probably not doing a disservice. You're doing a disservice to rugby league. So I'm asking the BBC again, directly, please, just put a fixture list out of all the games in all the divisions. It'll take you 2 seconds saying, if you want to catch a game, these are the fixtures. And we've got places, Cornwall, we can go to Newcastle people, we can take you to York, take you to Cumbria, take you to London. That's it. It takes 2 seconds to sell the game. I'll be watching the BBC and Mick and see if they do that, but I hope they do.
Well, it's interesting because as somebody who frequents on public transport a lot, after the first 2 Channel 4 games at the start of the season in the Super League, people were like going, I was on Channel 4 at 12 o'clock. This was in the round 3 fixtures. Where's the game? And then they've done it the week after. And I had to explain to them, they can only show 8 regular season games. They've already shown 3. They've got another 5 coming up. And then they've got 2 playoff games. But this is the payoff. Channel 4 have not paid anything for those games. They've not paid the RFL or Sky any money whatsoever. There's no monetary value. The monetary value which the RFL and obviously Sky are secretly hoping works, and it has been reflected in some very encouraging and promising viewing figures, is Channel 4, they produce it, they're paying their production costs, and obviously it's on free-to-air television. And like I say, Craig, Sky, the RFL, Super League, because let's not forget, the realignment is taking place, so it's not just a case of RFL versus Super League anymore. It is the Rugby Football League who's going to control everything. down with Super League obviously having their own brand, the Championship and League One having their own brand. But yeah, I like I say, Craig, you've got 8 hours of rugby league, you've got Wigan St Helens, unprecedented. It's been a couple of years since we've had Wigan Saints in a big crunch game on the BBC. Those were the Challenge Cup games. I just want to focus a little bit on that Catalan-St Helens game because that was a massive acid test for Christian Wolff and St Helens. And a lot of people were saying, look, they're going to go over there. It's knockout rugby league. Catalans, we know they had the disappointing defeat against Huddersfield last Friday. This was a chance to kind of bounce back. And the opening 20 minutes, it was a real, feisty, typical Catalan-St Helens affair. For me, Catalans v St Helens, that's the marquee fixture in the Super League. You've got the 2 best teams. Whether people agree with that, I'm not so sure. But, based on what happened in round 1, what happened in the grand final last year, and what I saw on Saturday, to me, you've got the 2 best teams in the competition. Are St Helens building a dynasty, Craig? Because what I saw was unbelievable. You've got Jack Wellesby, Lewis Dodd, Morgan Knowles. I think it was in the space of 5 minutes after that Fuhan Yaha try. St Helens, they just hit that purple patch, and that was it. Game over. Because at 20 points to 4, there was no way back for Catalans. I'm sorry, Steve McNamara probably tried his damnedest at half-time, but for me, that was it. In the space of 6 minutes, I think it was. You've got back-to-back tries. And those young St Helens players, I mean, we don't want to give them too much credit, but, we did it last week. Your Jack Wellesby, your Morgan Knowles, your Lewis Dodds. Unbelievable. So the question to you, Craig, is, are St Helens building a dynasty? Because I cannot see them losing to Wigan in the Challenge Cup semi-final. I can't see them losing in a Challenge Cup final. I might be left to eat humble pie in my words. I certainly can't see them losing many more games this year. We know they had the shock defeat away to Toulouse. That probably galvanises them, and they can use that. Christian's already said, that'll probably do them the world of good moving forward, because there was a bit of complacency in that performance away to Toulouse. But, when we talk about dynasties, they've won the last 2-3 grand finals. If they do it again this year, you're almost all of a sudden, subconsciously, comparing that St Helens team now to the Wigan side of the late 80s, early 90s. You are, because there's not been a side. You can probably argue a little bit about Leeds in 07, 08, 09, when they had the 3 on the bounce against St Helens. But if St Helens go and do it for a 4th year in a row, and the Challenge Cup as well, this is unprecedented, Craig, in the summer era, because you have the most successful team of the Super League era of the last 25 years.
Well, if you compare them to the Saints side that dominated, them years ago, you look at the original Wigan side who made most of us watch rugby, the Helens.
Your Sean Edwards, your Martin Affias.
And then you look at the great Bradford side, you look at probably the great Leeds side. Where do I put them? I'd say they've probably got the chance to be as good as anything we've seen. I've got to give Mr. Rush massive things because he's keeping it all together. The players are still hungry. The culture's amazing. Roby, Percy, these players there just got the right culture. I think they say Wormsley. And these are learning these young lads to be the hungry and what it is to be a player. Johnny Lomax, they say, is an unbelievable professional. Johnny pushes the standards. How lucky they are to have that, bringing young players in. As I say, I think I tell you what I'd do, and this is a bit of crack. Please don't get too serious here. But if I had to rank 1 to 5 of the all-time greats, teams, and it's unfair on Saints because at the moment they're not there. They're still building, but they could win a treble again. That'll never be, with 2 treble, whatever. Let's just say it's crazy what they can do. But I'm going to put, in my order, in my opinion, I'm still going to be biased and say the Wigan side I saw all them years ago. And I don't think there was any salary cap when Mr. Maurice Lindsay were throwing them thousands about Mick. I think they were. He probably played off a 4 million cap in 90. It was crazy. So I would say the cap they had in them days were probably the thing. But I thought the Wigan, when I saw them live, as a kid at Tattersfield, I think it was where my memory thing, but I think it was just amazing. They'd still be number 1. I'm looking at Leeds at 2. I think Leeds in the POM were the best grand final side I've ever seen.
So we're talking the Leeds with your Maguires, your
Yeah,
Sinfields, your Burrows,
I
your
thought-
Delaney's, your JJBs, your Peacocks, the 07, 08, 09.
Yeah, I think that one would have to stand up the record. I think it's 8 or 9 grand finals, winning it all but one, I think, or two, whatever. I'm biased here on you, but I'm not going to put the Bradford side in the top. I'm going to have your fourth, Mick. That'll upset you.
I'm not upset. It's
But I'm being
opinion.
honest, I think that's
I'm mature enough to accept your opinion.
And I'm going to put Saints young side now
Third.
So I'm going to go Wigan, Leeds, Saints Youngs, Bradford, and then where do I put the Saints side of Long, Price, Jamie Lyon, Matt Gidley, Kieran Cunningham. I might have to put them.
Darren Albert.
I might have to put them third. So I'm going to toss. I don't know. I might put Bradford down again. Mate, we outside it. I'd put them above this side. Would I have Sean Wayne when he had that run at Wigan? I would think no. I think
not enough. Not enough silverware one for mine.
Right, we're going to be talking. Yeah. So listen, that's a bit of crack for people to go back and put some comments in. Please have a look at what you would say your greatest ever club side. Go on, Mick. You get it.
For those that are watching this live on YouTube, let us know in the comments, because me and Craig will look on YouTube and we'll be able to see the live comments, and perhaps, there might be a couple of interesting comments that we can reread out and mention next week. Again, regarding this current Christian Wolf St. Helens side, I think if they do the clean sweep this year, based of the pressures of the summer era, with the salary cap and everything thrown in, I think they go head and shoulders even above that Wigan team.
Wow. That's the biggest comment I've heard you say.
No, I just feel, Craig...
Since you said the pies at Odsal are better than... No, that's a big call, Michael. That is
no pies at Odsal. Nigel's put the prices up. No, I'm only joking.
Right, well, that's a big call. You're saying this. Right, okay, we'll go with that. But please, again...
Yeah, definitely.
Come at us, mate. Come at us, and let's have a bit of a challenge on that one. I'd like to know. Wouldn't it be interesting? I'd be interested.
I'd love to see the Wigan 92-93 against the St. Helens now. Or if they can do a virtual...
Let me throw this one in, though, for you. I went to a football match on Saturday, Everton Man United. Okay?
Poor you.
Well, exactly. Exactly, by the way. Now, if you're telling me now, I'm going to have this debate here and we'll sink it into rugby. If you're telling me they're better athletes now than 20 years ago, you're wrong. You're miles off. They're not better. Football's not better athletes. Their attitude certainly ain't better. I couldn't believe, Mick, the football. I can't believe that stadium's packed and we can't pack a rugby league stadium when I'm watching that and it's just in little cubes, three touches, 4 touches, 5 touches. No one takes anybody anymore. There's no aggression allowed anymore. There's no play. Mick, it's just simple. They're all trying to do what Man City are doing, but they're not as good at it. They should stick to what they're going. But what upset me, the atmosphere in the stadium, Mick, are you taking this one on, was electric. We were sat, Tony Bello was sat 3 metres in front of me, and he was cheering in his passion for it, but they were cheering effort, Mick. I can't believe we've got to that. Come to Rugby League and watch it. We've got loads of effort.
Yeah.
You don't have to cheer effort.
Watch a Louis Stodds or a Jai Field break.
Yeah, but no effort, Mick.
No.
Our lads try. Come and watch some effort. All our lads at any standard, champ, one champ, Rugby League, they try and make the effort. So if you're going to clap effort, let's fill some of our stadiums. I'll tell you, any Man United or Everton fans, if you're watching, please, if you haven't already, give it a go. Because if you're cheering effort, you're going to get some value with our lads.
110%. Like I say, I didn't watch the game, but I've read the match reports in the papers, and I thought, poor you. You didn't get value for money, Craig.
Well, I was in the bar at half time. I didn't give a shit. No worries on that one.
So those were the Challenge Cup games. Before we move on to Rivals Round and what's happening this week, we'll focus a little bit on what has happened elsewhere. There was the 1895 Cup playoff. Whitehaven heavily defeated by Sheffield 40 points to 6. That was played, of course, at Post Office Road, Featherstone, because Sheffield are still trying to get to their new Legacy Park, Don Valley home. They're hoping to be in there May, June time. Very disappointing to see an attendance of just 150 given, but then it's a Saturday afternoon and you've got Challenge Cup games on the television. It's a hard sell, especially at short notice, to get people to come from Whitehaven or Sheffield to Featherstone. But certainly Sheffield they're going to face Lee now in the semi-finals of the 1895 Cup. In the Championship, an interesting game at Odsal on Sunday. It was the only Championship game because it was the rearranged fixture from round 4. We'll just spend a little bit of time on this. Bradford losing at home to Barrow. Paul Carey's side picking up their first win at Odsal since 1963. So here's a little interesting stat, because I'm a bit of a Doctor Who fan. The first episode of Doctor Who come out, that was the last time Barrow had beat Bradford Northern as they then were at Odsal. So 59 years. Let me tell you, Craig, about that game. Bradford, very inconsistent, very hot and cold. That performance kind of mirroring their start to the Championship season, where they've had some lacklustre performances against Sheffield, a second half capitulation against Lee, and they've also had some fantastic performances like round 1 against Dewsbury, second half in the Challenge Cup against London, the full game against Lee at Odsal in the Challenge Cup, the second half against Batley at Odsal, where they fought back and secured a valuable win, which could still be a valuable win. But it's interesting because you look at the situation at Bradford, and this will come as no surprise for the Bradford fans that watch this show. John Keir's out of contract at the end of the year. You know, there's inconsistent performances. Fans, for the first time, Craig, I noticed on social media at full time, Keir out. Time to go, John. Thank you very much. This wasn't just one or two supporters. This was widespread social media condemnation, saying, look, in their opinion, the side are playing dull rugby league football, and obviously it's basically forcing them to switch off and not turn up to Odsal. Now, it's an interesting situation. Nigel Wood, for mine, has got a very big decision to make because, as we both know, Craig, Nigel has probably made that decision in his head now, because if Nigel is going to change things, freshen things up at Odsal, and say, thank you very much, John, for what you've achieved, you know, you've come in when the club was at its lowest. It was in League One. It had just been liquidated and forced into administration. You've got us out in year 1. You've then stabilised us in the Championship. But now we feel it's time for a fresh approach, a fresh direction, and probably, you know, fresh ideas, ideologies, and a fresh approach. Now, that'd be music to many Bradford supporters' ears and eyes. And I know later on this week, because we're doing this podcast midweek, there is going to be a fans liaison meeting. And I know the attendances have suffered. Obviously, we're coming out of COVID. But, you know, it's no qualms about it. You know, Bradford Bulls' attendances are on the decline. And that obviously will be a worry to Nigel Wood and the board of directors. So, if we're going to talk about this like adults in a sort of mature way, Craig, what happens now? Because it's a very delicate situation, because John obviously has done good at the club. You know, he's come in, he's stabilised, he's got them promoted in year 1. And obviously they've had a bit of success in the Championship. They've had the big win against Leeds in the Challenge Cup. But we're now in 2022, and they're very inconsistent. They're very hot and cold. We know they've got a big game against Halifax at Odsal on Friday night. We know they've signed Sam Hallis. We can talk about that in just a moment. But what do you do, Craig, at Bradford? Because it's almost like, do you stick or twist? Because if you're going to twist, you want to be probably talking and bringing in the new man now in terms of the recruitment for next year. Because as you've said time and time again on the show, Craig, you don't want a current coach to be in charge of the recruitment if he's not going to be sticking around next year.
Let me first say, I think John Keir is a very sincere guy, and I like John a lot, and I think he's done an unbelievable job. I think he has a certain brand of playing. He's probably been branded with that, unlucky really, in a way that, you know, John slopes ruck down, kicks a touch. He likes a certain type of player. If you describe a John Keir player, you'd probably say George Flanagan, wouldn't you, George? He loves that competitive edge. Yeah. A great, you know, that's
that rough diamond. Yeah,
you know, I think John would tell you that he likes the competitiveness of players. He's also give a lot of young players their debut. Should have been giving thanks, you know, your Rowans and your Stozzers. He did give them all a chance, so you've got to give him a lot of toffee that. I think, Mick, to get the fans back at Bradford, and I've said this at any club, so I'm not using this thing, you've got to put a brand of rugby, and you've certainly got to give it's a young person's game. You are the one of the top 3 clubs of all time for producing youngsters. Probably I'd put you top 2. I think the fans need to see them, and they need to see exciting play, and they need to see a club which is on the up, and it looks like you're rebuilding at the moment. I think you're just filling. I don't think you're rebuilding, and I think that might be whether that's another coach. I wouldn't like to see that because John's my friend, and I like John a lot.
I get on well with John. I get on well with John. By the way, I just want to stress that is not a stake in the heart of John Keir. I'm just trying to look. I get put under. My job is very difficult, Craig, because I cover Bradford on the radio every week, and I know the situation now because we're slowly heading towards what Nigel would describe as the 10 games in, where he has got to make that decision. Now, we're slowly heading towards 10 games in, and I'm just seeing inconsistent performances, as are the supporters, and that is backed up by what we saw at Odsall on Sunday.
Is that, let me say, Mick, looking at Bradford, is it recruiting? Is it John's recruitment? What is expectations of Bradford fans? Is it to be a top 3 club, which I'd say it is?
It is, 100%.
And I said this to you at the start. I don't see Bradford as and I don't want to be. Oh, you said this, and they got top 3. We're not having about that. We're having a bit of honest chat. I think that'll be hard to say. I think Halifax and York will have a big thing. Barrow will have a big thing. I think Bradford play a certain type of brand of football. They're very heavy reliant on certain individuals. That's never good in a team. I think if you're waiting for, Deck Patton to do something, you're waiting for this to do something. I thought two of the... It's where you go in as a club. If you think about last year, there were 2 players I'd have probably kept. This is my recruiting. I'd have kept your fullback and went to Featherstone.
Brandon Pickersgill.
I thought he 110%. Whether that's not against us coming in, I just thought he was pivotal to what you were trying to do as a club. And then one that I was involved in, Joe Brown. I like that 21-year-old athletic... could have come through the system, fantastic attitude, gonna get better. And I think the fans will take that. I think when you come out then and you might put a 30-year-old winger in who's got no... I think the club's ethos, and this is for John, and everybody, I think if they went back to it and put that in the mind when they're recruiting, that is the type of player, a big board, Mick. What type of player are we looking for at this club?
Yeah, the Bradford Bulls DNA.
Do we want? And I think if that can be honest and people can talk honest about it and have that conversation, Nigel's probably going to come to the table and not hide behind the coach and say, you know what, I want this type of player at my club to get us to be, I think we need to get a 22, 23-year-old athletic, That's got to happen. And I think the fans will see what's happening. And I'll use the word again, you're starting to rebuild. Use word, would you say Bradford are a rebuilding club by the way they recruit?
At this moment in time, based on what we've seen, Craig, with the amount of players leaving and 16 players coming in, that is rebuilding. If you're bringing in 16 players...
Are you not just swapping?
I
rebuilding means putting foundations in to build up again. Do you think these are foundations that you're putting in, or you just get it? Because...
Well, in terms of Deck Patton, if you have aspirations to get to Super League, he is Super League quality, Craig. He has recently signed a contract extension on the back of Super League interest in him going back to the Super League. Now, obviously, he's got similar to Eben Skur, he has the Super League contract clause in his current contract. But what I'm saying is, you don't sign Deck Patton as a swap player for Danny Brough. To me... You're signing your Deck Patton as part of that rebuilding process. I can see where John is going, but at the same time, you used another keyword there, Craig, about swapping. There has been a lot of swaps. Like I say, 16 players coming in.
But if Bradford are going to be successful, Mick, they don't, no offence to Deck or anybody, they keep Rowan Mills, they keep Stosser, they keep Elliott.
Look.
Listen, and I were part, we were told to get the funds in and we tried to help, and that's what we do. We've been through all that. But that's the type of you've got some great 16s we know coming up. You've got some good 18s we know it. Them names and the club are doing a fantastic job trying to keep them names and I hope they do. I genuinely hope they do. I think Nigel's got to make sure that's more important than renewing somebody at first team who's 31 and I'd be like, no, this is where we've got to be. Let's retain all these 16-year-olds. Let's retain all these 18. Let's get everybody in the club believing in this ethos. that we're not going to lose another player here. We're going to give opportunities. Instead of putting somebody in there because it's a big game against Halifax, let the fans understand that. Putting this young man in, learning more by next year. Rebuild, and let the fans in on the story. I'm going to build something here in the next 5 years to get us back to Super League. It's no good saying it, Mick, if you're buying top-heavy teams. But it's not rebuilding. It's just saying, yeah, well, every year we'll change him. Let's have a look. Hey, think we can throw him in. He might do a good job here. No. Keep them young players. Let them be the future of the club. They're the ones who'll bring the fans back.
Well, like I say, Craig, you made another point that we're going to say, which probably gives John Keir a bit more grace and time, is that he had to deal with, pardon the language, the shit show of the Andrew Chalmers debacle, where the club painfully had to sell Rowan Milnes, Matty Staunton. You had Brandon Pickersgill, Elliot Minchella, Joe Keys ripping up their contracts and leaving for free. So just for that to happen to John, because that team, Craig, as we're now seeing with Matty Staunton, Elliot Minchella, Rowan Milnes, if Bradford had kept them players, they're up there with Liam Featherstone. Jake Truman. Fact. But as we all know, due to whichever way you want to, say,
let's not go back. Let's look forward.
No,
don't lose the next one to these.
No, I agree.
Make that your club ethos, Nigel. Make that your club ethos, where you're looking to make sure that them fans will trust him if he says, "I've kept 13 players. 10 of these are going to." Let me tell you, 10 of these are going to be in our first team within 15 months. Yeah. Guess what? I'm keeping them.
Yeah, and we saw a little bit of that with Eben Skur staying. Tom Doyle saying we're starting to see at long last some stability. The point I was trying to say, very inconsistent performance by Bradford. It's now the fourth, in my opinion, inconsistent performance of the season. And obviously we're getting to a crucial period where Nigel is going to make a decision. John, obviously, will have Bradford fired up for that game against Halifax at Odsal on Friday. He will use every ounce of his intelligence and experience of being a player and a head coach to have them fired up.
Let me tell you what, you've just used the word, though. Inconsistent. Do you think John Keir's inconsistent as a bloke? I don't think he is.
No. It comes down to the players and whether or not they can be motivated.
What'll happen to the John? If they're not consistent and John loses his job, how many of them players do you think will go and sit with JK in next 2 years?
They won't.
What do they do?
They won't, Craig.
There'll be 2 or 3 who care.
There'll be 2 or 3 who care, like your George Flanagans, your Jordan Lillys, who see John as a father figure.
Let me finish though. The inconsistent players, either they've got that wrong in recruiting it, and the JK has to take that, or that's what's swimming in the sea at the moment. The reason they are not in Super League, let me tell you, the reason they're not in Super League is because they are inconsistent as people, inconsistent as players, and that. They're there for a reason. If you're 27 and 28 with loads of ability and you're not in Super League, what's that telling you?
Exactly, you've not made it.
It means that you're inconsistent because you're not willing to go to that next stage to be that player.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, the top 5 players I've got on my books, Mick, are all best athletes and workers, and they try. They're all the same. They've got a will to win. So, listen, let's leave it on this because we're going to JK. We all want to stay. We want Matt, all that stuff. I think the club need to show a real ethos of where they're going. And I think that's more important because you're not chasing, we said it last week, you're not chasing Featherley. Forget about it. Save your money. Go and put 100,000 into youth. Keep every one of them young lads. And in 18 months, you'll beat Featherley if you do it that way. And you'll play some exciting rugby and people want to come back and watch it. There we go.
Just one final point that I've made on social media about the pitch. The pitch, narrower, shorter. That is not conducive to an expansive style of play. And as I tried to explain to many people, and I thought long and hard about trying to communicate this point, because don't forget, when I'm commentating and I'm on that gantry, I've got a bird's eye view of Odsal, and I can see exactly if we're going for a compact down the middle start to the set, or if we're going on the edges. The problem is using the forwards, first couple of drives, then you're going on the edges like the majority of Super League and Championships do. The problem is you've got superstars, Jordan Lilly, Det Patton. The problem is, Craig, because the pitch is narrower, everything is discompressed, and that quality and that talent is nullified. And it's frustrating, but that was the concession in moving back to Odsal.
Okay.
Right, we're moving on. In League One, Craig, there was Cornwall. Great crowd, by the way. 1,400 people there to see them face the Midland Hurricanes. Doncaster, Carl Hall, and your old club, Craig. They're doing it tough at the start of the year. Bit of a shellacking against Swinton Lions, who are now 3 from 3. Doncaster beat them by 64 points to 22. North Wales Crusaders, another tip of mine. Andy Moresdale doing fantastic stuff there. They beat London Scholars by 54 points to 6. A bit of a blowout. Oldham 100. West Rail Raiders 4. I'm not quite sure what that result does for the integrity of the sport.
Not a lot.
West Wales had a player sent off and they finished with 11 players on the field. Very disheartening. And we'll give Andy Maisie and Matt Calland and Gary Thornton a bit of a raps for their performance against Hunslet. 44 points to 20. Rochdale now up to 3rd in the table. And I cannot stress enough, although nothing's formally been announced regarding restructuring and remodelling for next year, we suspect it is going to go to 210s.
Yeah.
If you are a League One club and you are not promoted this year, you're going to find it incredibly tough to feature in that second 10. So it is imperative those big League One clubs like your Hunslet, your North Wales Crusaders, your Keighley's, your Rochdales, your Oldhams really do throw everything at this season. I can't stress that enough. Just a quick one, Craig, on the Championship. Obviously, we said last week, Derek Beaumont, he told me they were going in the NRL market. They've signed Kai O'Donnell from Canberra, big imposing forward. Derek tells me he's not finished. So we've had quite a few comments from the Lee fans who were saying, oh, who are these players coming? Well, Derek didn't tell me who was coming. He just said he's going over to the NRL and he's bringing in players. So O'Donnell's come from the Canberra Raiders. I'd love to know exactly who's coming, because you've seen Featherstone with Matt Kerala and everybody who's coming to Featherstone, and now it's like Lee. You know, when you look at the Championship table, though, Craig, there's only 1 point separating them two. And on a dry track, with Lee hosting Featherstone, we've got the game at Headingley. Honestly, for me, the Championship is wide open. A lot of people are saying Fev. I don't see it that way, Craig. I can see Lee in a one-off game beating Featherstone, and if the table is as tight as it is, that puts Adrian Lamb and Lee Centurions in pole position in those home playoff fixtures.
For me, Mick, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't do it for me. I hear all these signings, and I'd just rather see the young, if you go up, I mean, let's say League go up, 3 or 4 of the best players will be took by other clubs.
Correct.
And then they will have to restructure again, and the players that are there might only be Championship players, 5 or 6. So you end up with 4 or 5 players you carry through to the next year who actually can play Super League. And by the way, that's a big rap for, I don't like the way poor old Lee have to do it in Featherstone when they have to get 8 weeks to get a team together. It's that sudden bust. That needs to be decided earlier. They're going to find a way. That's wrong. Hopefully now, 210s it might, and that's the way it goes. But I don't like everyone throwing money in like that, Mick, and then just going for it at this game of who's got the most money, who's Feather League, kicking it. So what happens to all them young lads who have signed at that club, and suddenly you sat there looking and thinking, how many more are they bringing in here? And all they're doing is, you get 2 or 3 bad games, we'll get another one. You're gone. And then it's not for me, never will be for me, and that's respectfully so. Just isn't my boat.
No, I
think it's fantastic that people get sexy foot, they come over them, and these two are going to play off these games. But one of the biggest things I love at Featherstone is young Morgan Smith's development as personally, because they can bring all the stars in they want. Mac's gone, you're my number 1 halfback, we're keeping with you. And he's going to go against these Australian players, he might go against this. I think he'll hold his own. I'll tell you one thing, if they go up, he'll hold his own next year, because he's played 50 games, and you watch what happens, and he's only 23-year-old. So I just like that model for me is my model. That model for me, when I were at Doncaster, that's the model we approached. We took 9 lads under 22, so we had some progression for the next year. That was always going to be the model for us. Once we got promotion, we had these young players who had got enough. So that's where I am with that, Mick. Do I think it's exciting? Yeah, Derek v. Mark Campbell, the big battle, the big bashers, the boys, they're both a pair of characters like me, Mick. You like it. It's amazing. But I'm the other role. I don't like to see new signings coming in, because when you see a new signing coming in, Mick, trust me, you're on the players on the other end of that. It's heartbreaking. You've been signed at a club saying if you play well, you're going to play these games. And suddenly, you've got 3 internationals in front of you, somebody's on 150 grand, and you sat there and you're going, what have I done? Nightmare. You know what I mean? How does Brandon Pickersgill feel now when they brought
Matt Corral coming in?
What does that do?
I would love to ask Brian McDermott.
Every Bradford fan now, a lot of Bradford fans are thinking, oh, he might come back here. Oh, that's what you do.
No, but Craig, I would love to ask Brian McDermott an honest question. Why have we brought in Matt Corral? What are the deficiencies you're seeing in Brandon Pickersgill? Because
I don't think it is. I think it's putting pressure on Leah, putting pressure on them, and they're throwing pressure back. I think it's
they're both spending over £1 million. Unprecedented to have two teams spending over £1 million.
Build something. Pickersgill's got a chance of playing at the highest level if you get him.
I hope Brandon does. I messaged Brandon just the other day, Craig. I said, look, Brandon, I know you're currently out injured. Take it on the chin, come back fitter, stronger, and show people and show the sport of rugby league what I know you can do. Because I've seen Brandon develop from the Bulls under-16s, the under-19s, to where he is now, arguably one of the top championship fullbacks. But your point is spot on, Craig. If Lee go up, what happens to Keenan Brand, those young players?
You know what
happens to Morgan Smith, Brandon Pickersgill? I hope to God, whoever of the two goes up, and who knows, there might be a shock, and it might be a York or a Newcastle or a Bradford or an Halifax. Who knows? But if it's as Featherstone and Lee, as we suspect, based on what they're spending, let's hope Derek and Mark trust those youth players to make that step up to Super League next year.
Otherwise, they'll just come along and Saints will take the best one, and he'll take the second best one, he'll take the third best one. Warrington will take that one. Matautia, you could go through the history of the clubs. They've had the best players picked off them, and then the way the rules are, they get 6 to 8 weeks to recruit another team. It's shocking. 2 teams of 10 will work better anyway. So
I agree. Whitehaven, obviously, at the foot of the table, there's been a lot of activity. Whitehaven have signed Marcus Walker from Hull FC. Jack Bibby's on loan from Wigan. London have brought in Dane Chisholm from Featherstone. Again, Dane Chisholm, not ever really been Dane's an interesting one because on his day, he's got the flair, he's got the pizzazz, but he's never really managed to settle. Obviously, we're at Hull, then he was at Bradford. He went back to Sheffield, he went back to Bradford. Obviously, he left Bradford, and obviously he went to Featherstone, and now he's gone on loan to London. Dewsbury, of course, Kyle Trout, another Featherstone Rovers player. It's going to be interesting, Craig, because, you look at the bottom, you've got Dewsbury, London, Working and Whitehaven. Again, I can't stress enough, if we are going towards 210s, which is the music I'm hearing, then the 2 teams that go down from the championship, they are going to be in a real mess next year, because if you're not in that top position in that League One table, you're potentially facing an unfunded future. That's what the proposal is from the RFL. The clubs all know. Whether or not it gets voted through, I'm not too sure. There might be a little bit of give and take and a little bit of finance. We know the League One clubs have already gone from 75,000 to like Rochdale, just over 20,000. So their owners like Andy Maisie, they're all having to pump in the money to keep the clubs going. Scary prospect.
It is, but sometimes 20,000 because you're only getting 400 supporters. That's where I
agree, Craig.
Let me finish. In the olden days, mixed semi-professional football, what they did around our end, if you got 20,000 off the FA for a semi-professional club, Gould Town, when we were at Gould Town, our assistant coach, John Reid, we'd get 1,000 people in stadium. Our lads were on £100 a game, some were on £200 a game. But that reflected the gate receipts of 1,000 people paying 15 quid. Do you get me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's how a business runs. You can't always have these and outs. And if they're not putting Champ 1 on telly anywhere and it's not getting media views and sponsorships, why would you give them money? Some of these, here, let's just do it. Let's just read out the crowds. You're better than me. You do it because I'm short-sighted anyway. I had a good drink yesterday.
Well, look, I don't want to...
Just tell the crowds off the back. Don't mix it.
Cornwall Midlands, 1,473. Wow. Their first game at Cornwall.
Even Sam clapped that.
Yeah, no, listen, fantastic. Doncaster against Swinton, 1,015. So 4-figure gate there. London Scholars against North Wales Crusaders, a very disappointing and dispiriting 186. Oldham against West Wales, 651. Craig, no. Craig.
What did you say? 186?
186. I hate
what
to
are
say
you moaning that you're getting 20 grand a year and 186 people?
Craig, look, I'm not going to turn on any of these clubs because I've
You're
been
not
there.
turning. You just
No, I'm not. Some of these people are my
You are
friends.
getting nervous.
I am getting nervous. Some
So
of these
say
people
next
are
one
my
then.
friends.
Say next one.
Oldham against West Wales, 651. Again, half a clap. And Rochdale against Hunslet, 415, which I'm sure Andy Maisy will not be happy about. He'll be striving to work on the attendances.
So again, do we moan about 20,000, 30,000?
No, because as I've tried to say, Craig, the RFL, the return on investment is now up to 50%. So 50% of what the clubs get is based on their contribution to the sport of rugby league.
Exactly.
And as we're going to see, fingers crossed, when the 210s, if they get voted through, which I think they will do, there'll be enough clubs wanting that version and direction of travel with promotion and relegation between both divisions. It includes the Super League clubs, because you can't just have the Championship and League One clubs on the 50%. You've got to have the Super League clubs on the 50%.
Tell me the attendance of the Super League games.
Well, Catalans against St Helens, the highest attended game of the weekend, 8,624.
Well, that's our highest.
That was the highest, yeah. 8,600.
Challenge Cup and the season tickets have to pay.
It's still, it's still good going. Huddersfield against Hull FC, 3,637. Hull Kingston Rovers was 2,819. Again, Friday night. And Wakefield against Wigan was 3,700. 2,819. There was only 3,000 people at the Wigan.
The week before they got 10,000.
I agree.
So is that because they've got 7,000 season ticket holders or members? Or
I think the problem with the Challenge Cup games is, Huddersfield had 3,000, Wakefield had 3,000, Hull KR just had a couple short of 3,000. So those games involving Huddersfield, Hull Kingston Rovers and Castleford, Wakefield and Wigan, all on average got 3,000. So they're all mirroring each other, Craig.
Let me finish. You might have to do there.
They're all mirroring each other.
You know what you might have to do there, if just purely Challenge Cup. It might be as well. People are moaning about, did they open the stadiums for 1,500 people, 2,000? They maybe have to do Challenge Cup magic and just run it.
That's been suggested.
Yeah, run it as a thing and play quarterfinals all together. Play the after the quarterfinals, 16 or last 8, play it all together. So then you're amalgamating the crowds and getting better atmosphere, because that, 2,000 or 3,000 fans turning up to these.
I mean, I'm not sure what the running costs are for Hull Kingston Rovers, but, have they broke even on that? Bearing in mind they've got to give half to Castleford. So Wakefield, 3,700. Bearing in mind they've got to give half of that to Wigan. Michael Carter might have made a little bit of...
Challenge Cup games, because you're asking season tickets to pay for them, and they've already paid their money on the season ticket, so they don't want to pay extra to watch Challenge Cup game, which, by the way, is on television. So they go, you know what, I'll sit back, I'll watch it on TV, I'll go pub and watch it. That's like that. I get that. Probably for the fans who like to go to the matches, roll the Challenge Cup into, so many days and do it that way. So you'll have a Challenge Cup quarterfinals, Challenge Cup semi-finals, be a lot better and minimise the cost. That's it.
One crowd we didn't mention was the Championship one, Bradford Barrow, 3,258, which is...
It's very good then.
It's respectable. It's not where Bradford's crowds have been. That same fixture in 2019 had just short of 4,000, so you can see a bit of a drop-off. And obviously the round 7 fixture, which was last Monday, Craig, Newcastle Widnes, that had just short of 2,000, so Newcastle really doing well, getting nearly 2,000 people in on a Monday night. Again, it's on television. Widnes fans will not travel in the numbers if it was Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Same with Castleford. How many Castleford fans went to Hull Kingston Rovers? Very difficult to tell from the coverage. But, out of that crowd of 3,000, you're probably looking at maybe 200, 250. It's on television. And the frustrating
thing for me... You've got to get the fine line to... And I'm sure Sam will know this figures, and you probably get the fine line between how much you actually cover on TV and media against people who still like to go and watch it. Because if you're going to... Sam will know it with UFC fighting. Somebody said to me, do you want to go to UFC and watch it? Now, would I go... I've been twice, 3 times live, but I'd be reluctant if it's on live. What you do help making you go is it's not until 4 in the morning. So if it come to London, would I rather watch it live and, whatever, maybe, but because it's in America a lot, you think. So I don't know. What makes you go to a live event? I don't know. I'd say a lot. Them figures you're saying there, probably from outside, somebody listening, they'd be like, "Hey, well, why? You know?"
Well,
it sounds shocking.
Let's be brutally honest, Craig, and we don't want to focus on London versus North Wales or Sheffield versus Whitehaven, but Sheffield Whitehaven 150. London versus North Wales.
Just tell me, Mick, there, what capacity crowd? So just say, and this is just not judging at the Challenge Cup. What capacity did them stadium hold? So how much percentage of the capacity?
Okay, Catalans, that's 12,000, so that's pretty much 3/4 full.
What's their average crowd on without Challenge Cup?
They're pretty much around 8, 9, 10,000. So that 8,624, that's fantastic for Catalans. So Bernard Grouse, Steve McNamara, and the media people. Amazing, unbelievable. Right. That looked vibrant.
Saints are getting full houses, aren't they, this week?
Yes.
What will be in the Saints Stadium this week? 16th.
18,000 sellout.
Wow. Boom.
Huddersfield versus Hull FC, 24,000 at the John Smiths and only 3,000 turning up. Like I say, Craig, less than 20% of capacity.
What's their average without the Challenge Cup?
Huddersfield are around 4,000 or 5,000. So that's a couple of thousand down. Ulkinson Rovers, we know it holds just over 10,000, 11,000. For them to be getting 3,000.
Oh, but what do they get normally?
Hulkison Rovers, they're up there 8,000, 9,000. We know we had
so they nearly filled the stadium.
That's
why the atmosphere is always electric.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's obviously something for Paul Larkin to try and work out why they've only had a quarter of what they normally turned up. But it's on TV on a Friday night. It's an all-pay crowd. The Challenge Cup is waning, in my honest opinion. The sooner they go to the... I hope Ralph does it. Whether or not Ralph's got the balls to do it, I don't know, but I would go to the Challenge. I'd turn the Challenge Cup into the Champions League group format that has been suggested, where you would have 2 Super League 1 clubs with 2 Super League 2 clubs. So you've potentially got a Leeds coming out with a Huddersfield, and they're playing a Batley Bradford. I know you're probably going to say no.
Just rather roll it. I think it is one for you. There is based on that as a whole, and we'd have to get the figures. We'll do it another time because we've spent a lot of time on it, but. It must be. We need to keep the weather's coming. We will. See, you can watch 4 games on 4 different. This week it was BBC, Premier. Who televised it?
It was this BBC and Premier.
And Sky, no Sky.
No Sky this week.
So
BBC
we're all
Premier.
got access to BBC. There's not
Premier. No,
I have obviously, but the percentage.
It's a subscription. PPV.
So it'd be interesting, probably for Rugby League when they're spending the money and making areas of research. Just do a research on all fans saying. Yeah. You know, why you're not coming to the games and what's affecting you. I wonder how many people have watching it on TV.
Well, I've not actually got the viewing figures yet. We normally get sent them later on this week by the RFL in a media brief, so we'll know exactly how many people were watching them Premier Sports and the BBC ones.
What day's the Hull Derby on this week?
The Hull Derby's on Good Friday at 12:45.
Well, I went last year, Mick, and I've never seen an atmosphere that Hull like. I was absolutely... And
that one, of course, was at Hull FC. This one's at Hulkison Rovers. Both sold out.
Right,
sold out.
I'll tell you what, I might be just texting Mr. Larkin as we're speaking, my big mate Paul, just asking for a couple of prawn cocktail 2 seats for me and Jomi. Oh, wait, sorry, Mick, I blew you out there, didn't I?
well, just so you know, Craig, I'm not planning on having too much of a heavy night on Thursday, tomorrow, but if Joe's in America and you can get me back from Hull to Wadsall for Bradford Halifax,
I'll make this easy, Mick. I'll take
you up.
No, but Jomi, if he's back from his America, I'd like to see him and Steph experience the Old Derby. I think it's an amazing occasion.
It's blown me out. It's blown me
out.
I'm not getting
it's
Old
an
Derby.
amazing occasion. And I'm sure, what time's the game on? The Saints game is...
It's 3 o'clock, yeah. Basically, it's bang, bang. 2 sellout derbies in rivals round.
Well, it's 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock.
No. 12 o'clock. 12:45 and 3 o'clock. Hull Derby first, then Wigan Saints.
Wow. So if you were going to watch the Hull Derby, can you get in your car and get back to watch? No. Oh, God. So it's going to have to be... Right, that's how I'm thinking. I'm trying to learn people. If I were going to go live to watch that, can I?
You can't, sadly.
So I'm on record. No social media.
You've either got the decision to go to Hull, to East or West to St Helens.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go to the Hull Derby, I've decided.
Right, fair enough.
I think I'm going to go.
Well, next week you can give us your experience of
I will. Pity we can't get Sam and the lads there to do a bit of pre-game atmosphere. We could have asked Mr. Larkin for...
Well, there's nothing stopping you from asking.
Well, we can't afford Sam's wages. Right, carry on.
Just before we move on to rivals round and we have a look at that, Craig, this question would have come up from people. Obviously, there was some big news regarding one of your players. Just quickly, Sam Halles left Newcastle. Deal done last week. Announced this week as a Bradford player.
Brilliant. Everybody's all right. Sam's been a credit to himself. Newcastle loved him. They're so sad to see Sam going. Work commitments has enabled it. Sam wants to go back to work. He's given the full time a go, and he thinks that for him going forward as a family with his partner, that he wants to start a career outside of the game and play alongside. It certainly wants a personal choice on. Sam loved his time at Newcastle, as he's loved his time at Bradford and loved his time at Leeds. So they've got a character back, one of the crowd's favourites, his effort. I can remember putting Sam into Newcastle and they were saying what his attributes, and I just said Sam. And I think that's what they said when he left. That Jordan and Dennis and Eamon were like, they just love his spirit. They just loved him as a character. I mean, it was quite funny. The Widnes game, his last game, he got man at match. He were everywhere. He were like, and I were like, the fans are going to be disappointed. But sometimes, there's no personal. It's just the lad wants to give that a go and start his life in his career outside of rugby. A decision made. Brilliant for Bradford. Big loss for Newcastle.
Well, John Kay calls him the chief enthusiasm officer, and you do see that when you go to Tong. You do see that in the dressing room. You see that out there in the pre-match. You see that out there on the field. He's obviously coming back to Bradford, straight in the 21-man squad to face Halifax at Odsal on Friday. Hopefully there's a big crowd there at Odsal. The return of Sam Halles. Halles is home is the tagline that the Bulls have been punching. Just a quick point, Craig, because I noticed there was a little bit of...
Sam, how long has he had on Bradford? 20 minutes.
We've not had 20 minutes on Bradford.
I'm saying this to all my supporters out there, Mick, of the show. They allow you probably 12 minutes. You've had 8 minutes.
Right. Well, this will be off for last week's. This will be off next week's show. Yeah. But just quickly, because I did see quite a bit of animosity from Newcastle Thunder supporters on their Facebook pages. Look, Dennis is really sad that this has happened, but obviously Newcastle, a credit to the sport of rugby league, a credit to Sam Halles. They understood the situation and have released him.
Newcastle are a good club. They could have kept him on and been funny. They're a good club. They're good people.
There we go. Right, rivals round this week, Craig. It's a first for Super League because we've got Catalans against Toulouse on Thursday. That is the Sky Sports game. So there's no cameras at Headingley for Leeds against Huddersfield, which is another huge game. Well, you're going to that one. I'll be honest, I'll be in the pub and I'll be watching Catalans against Toulouse tomorrow evening. Well, let's just start with Catalans against Toulouse.
No. Our argument's going to be, and we're all going to join in with this. This is another one, and this might be the question.
Okay, yeah.
What we use.
I know what you're going to say.
No, the question for the end will either be who is the best team in Super League, what we've asked in history, which team and why, yeah. And then we, between us, will pick out the best comment and the best team what we put. Or we might make this one the rivalry. So I'm going to throw in rivalries, Mick.
Yeah.
And is it Bradford Leeds? Is it Wigan Saints? Is it Cass? Are we going to put Cass with Wakey?
Cass with Wakefield, yes, 100%.
Is it Toulouse v Catalans? Is it
Wigan Saints?
No. Is it Warrington and
Widnes?
No, that's
Warrington Widnes is historically.
Oh yeah, but we're not.
They're both in Cheshire. They're both in Cheshire.
I know they are. But
in now, well, it's Warrington v Salford in rivals round.
No, you'd say Warrington. Would you not say Warrington Saints?
No, because St Helens are playing Wigan.
No, you got me. Their biggest game this year, Warrington's. Who will it be against?
St Helens.
I'm saying.
Okay, I'm with you.
So I'm going to put that. So we're going to spend next 2 minutes to put a little bit of reason why I'm going to pick. So the derby, Hull and KR, by the way, I'm going to say out of all the derbies I've been to, which I've probably been to 10 or 12, Mick, over the years, I've been to a Leeds Bradford derby, which I in the day was amazing. Absolutely. I can remember Robbie and Henry Paul coming off that bus at Headingley. And I think it might have even Morley and that. It was just sensed. Barry McDermott, v Stuart Field. Are you kidding me? This was as good as it got. I've seen Saints and the Wigan, which I used to absolutely... Oh, my God. Tommy Martin, one of my favourite players. The Maverick Tommy Martin. The Bobby Golding, against the Paul Sculthorpes against Andy Farrell when they all got it on. But But I enjoyed the Hull Derby last year. The best game I've ever been to for a derby was the Hull Derby at Hull Ground last year. I got there early. I sat in the stadium for 30 minutes on my own to Lee Crooks, and they were all shouting at me, and like, Craig, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to take everything in, and I'm going to sit here next to the dugout, and I want to enjoy it. I don't want no stress. Took the phone off. Mickey was absolutely, honestly, just electric from start to finish. It probably took me back to some of them games. So, I've never experienced a Hull Yard at Hull, which is why I say I might try and get there. But that derby for Hull was go down as my best one is the Hull Derby. And I think if it's probably the biggest positive of our... Be interesting who gets the biggest figures on Friday then. Don't know if the times will make a difference. Will it be Wigan Saints?
In the viewing figures?
Yeah.
I think Wigan Saints will get the Wigan Saints, yes.
Wow.
Because because historically, Wigan Saints has always been there. It's been there for 130 years. Craig.
Is the Hull Derby sold out?
Yeah, both sold out.
Wow.
Honestly, Good Friday on Sky Sports from 12 o'clock when the presentation starts. You've got 2 games back to back.
I might just go into Harrogate and get on the lash, mate. I'm going to put that as my Hull Derby. It's going to be my favourite derby I've been to live. It's better than the rest for me. I've been to Caswake. We've done that one. I'm all in on Hull Derby as being the best.
Wow. I have been to many rugby league games in my time, and like you say, those Bradford Leeds games again. That to me was manufactured. It was a manufactured Super League product because historically, anybody who's a Bradford Northern fan will know it was always the Good Friday or certainly the Boxing Day, New Year's Day against Halifax at Fromall and Odsal with the big crowds. Historically, Leeds opponents were Castleford. You look at their big games, big crowds. Historically, were Castleford, Wakefield, obviously Cass, Featherstone, Cass. You've obviously got the situation with Wigan and St Helens, the whole derby, as quite rightly you said. You've got Rochdale and Oldham and Swinton. Again, ever so slightly manufactured, Craig. But you know,
what about the Cumbrians,
Workington, Whitehaven. Yeah. I've seen a Cumbrian derby. I've been very blessed to have witnessed all these games, and let's not forget the Heavy Woolen derby. Batley Bulldogs against Dewsbury Rams. You know, you are talking 2 stadiums less than 3 miles away where the fans can actually walk from each other's ground in less than an hour.
So come on then.
It's got to be Wigan and St Helens for mine, Craig. It just has to be.
I apologise all the Bradford fans for him.
No, I'm not gonna put a Bradford Leeds down when historically it's been manufactured. And look, when there were 24,000 people at Odsal in 1999, you know, that is a spine-tingling moment. You had to be there with that atmosphere going crazy when Mick Withers put that drop goal over.
Unbelievable.
You know, unbelievable. You know, I have never, ever experienced, if you're asking me for the loudest crowd moment, that is probably up there with what I've experienced with emotion. And it looks a fantastic product on the TV. But if we're talking consistently and we're talking about what is actually going to drag the sport of rugby league, as Carl Fitzpatrick says, not just out of the rugby league sporting conscious bubble, but also the sporting conscious bubble into that public domain, it is going to be Wigan versus St Helens versus Wigan. The whole derby is a very close second, Craig. I am not going to lie, and you've probably got Batley and Dewsbury. This is a very, very heated debate because you're going to have everybody saying it's this, it's that, and I'm sure people in the comments are probably agreeing with me that Wigan St Helens is up there at the top.
Right, yeah. So.
But it goes out live, so people will be watching us now and they'll be commenting when it goes out. And
I've got you.
I'll be watching it and I'll be reading the comments with great interest, like I was doing on the last show.
What we're making the competition for the free 2 tickets to any game of your choice the next week.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's just do this.
Are we making the greatest teams or the greatest derbies?
Greatest derbies. Just give us the reason why. And whichever one me or Craig look at and think that's a great reason why, you will win the shirt or the tickets next week.
Done. We're happy with that. Look into the camera and tell them what they're going to do.
So basically, on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV on YouTube, you've got to be a subscriber, you've got to be a supporter of the show, and in the live comments, or even just the normal comments, if you're watching this a couple of days in the future, We want you to basically say which is the biggest rivalry in rugby league and why. It could be Batley versus Dewsbury. It could be Halifax versus Bradford. It could be Leeds Cass. It could be Leeds Bradford, Wigan Saints. You could even go Warrington St Helens, or you could even go Oldham and Rochdale. Whitehaven Barrow, Whitehaven Workington. If you think the Cumbrian derby is, I mean, again, it's subjective, Craig, because if you're from Wigan or Saints, you're going to say that. If you're from Hull, you're going to say that.
I disagree. I think rugby league people will see it, and especially the people in the middle, a rugby league fan. The best game I ever saw, what I saw, Mick, wasn't a derby. It was the Ellen Road Canterbury Leeds game. Was absolutely electric. I went to Warrington Saints this year at Saints sellout. That was top atmosphere. When the Saints and the band's playing and the fireworks are going, you've got the airs on your back. And Saints ran out like the Leeds United team of the 70s. They had the tracksuits on, and it was unbelievable. They were saying to you that day, we're the best team you're going to watch. Have a good time. And they put a performance flawless on, Mick. So that, they are, at Saints, I reckon, going at any time this year is so exciting. But I'm still going to put the Hull derby. That's it.
No, listen, and you know what? You might be right, Craig. Like I say, I've got a lot of friends from Hull who, again, it's a big city derby.
We should get two of my friends, it's Udgell and Neil Udgell and Adam Pearson. Do you think we should? I know we keep saying we're going to get them, and I've said this week we're going to order the players to come on.
Yes, this week.
Would it be great to see them two sat in this seat, Mr. Udgell, and we could argue this. And we might try and do that. Try and get Neil, if he'd come out with Adam Pearson, and see if we can talk about what the derby means to him.
Well, listen, I agree, Craig. And anybody who's wondering where the guests are, Craig forgot. He decided to go on the piss at, where were you, Newmarket?
Newmarket,
there we
Dolphin
go.
Darley. Sheik, I sat with the Sheik. It was an interesting time.
But yeah, look. That's what we want you to do. You can win a shirt, you can win a ticket.
Don't drink Shiraz at 11:30 at night in a hotel at £40 a bottle, when you've already had 14 pints that day. Because you're just wasting the taste, my friend. And all you've got is red teeth and a sore head.
There you go. So, we'll quickly go through the fixtures. Catalans against Toulouse. That's at the Stade Gilbert Brutus. Again, heading towards a sellout. First time ever we've got two teams in France. I can't wait for that. Like I say, I'm getting... Tomorrow night, I'm getting all these offers. Do I want to go to this club, this bar, this club? I'm like, nope. I says... I will not be moving from the pub with the Sky Sports on until that game is finished. I'll be watching Catalans against Toulouse.
But then there'll be social media things of you appearing everywhere in every club and giving it the big one again like you do now. You know.
No, they won't, Craig. Okay. I'm a changed man. Rugby league.
Back.
I've been questioned what are my priorities in life, and rugby league will always be number one. People might disagree, but look, Catalans against Toulouse tomorrow, fantastic. I think Toulouse ever improving, as we've seen with their performances against Wigan and St Helens. Sadly, I think this is going to be a bit of a tough test, but how amazing is it going to be? 10,000 people there, Craig. A partisan French crowd. You know, this is rugby league history.
I've never been, and I hope, and I'm actually.
Well, I've been above Catalans and Toulouse.
You'll not remember Toulouse because you've got your unconscious pissed. I did your commentary, so don't say you've seen Toulouse. By the way, you haven't been to Catalans. You just stole that one in.
I have been to Catalans.
When?
Back in 2012, we went on a Provident trip with the Bradford Bulls.
I know you went to paid. Yeah, I know that.
That was when the times were good, when you'd go on the coach and bless Paul Mitchell and Provident. There'd be a little brown envelope with your name in, and there'd be €100. And you had the hotel. There'd be Robbie Hunter-Paul, Stuart Fielden. It was... Look, I can say it now because it was 10 years ago. Basically, it was... if you watch the Only Fools and Horses episode, the Jolly Boys outing where they go down to Margate, it was just like that. It was basically an excuse for a piece up and do a bit of commentary.
Well, I'm sure, but I would say that I'd love to do that next 2 years. I'd love to be able to get a chance to.
If I'd have got my act in order and saved a bit of brass, I'd have loved to have flown out.
Have you had your jabs?
Pardon?
Have you had your jabs?
Yes.
I mean, it's a private thing. You don't have to tell us. He already has. So
yes. Don't get me going on COVID and jabs. Do not get me going. I was at a concert in Leeds last night, Craig. You do not need to show your jabs anymore. It's, for now, while the war on Ukraine's on, COVID is just a thing of the past. But seriously, there's no more you've got to show your vaccine status. Like I say, I was in a.
So you can get into France without it.
Yes, I was in the O2 Arena last night with 3,000 people packed in like sardines. No COVID status.
Well, that's a bit irresponsible. You sat on this show next, me and Sam, and you could have just given us.
Craig, come on.
Load of COVID from 3,000 back to the stadium.
Come on. Right, we're moving on. Huddersfield Leeds, dear oh dear, Craig. If Toulouse were to get a shock result, where's this one going at Headingley on Thursday? You're only there because you look like a bit more of a rounded Martin Kemp. I'm sorry, Craig. I can't speak. But no, look, credit to Leeds.
You're saying I'm a fat Martin Kemp.
I'm not, mate, I'm not.
Someone's said it.
No.
What's well-rounded, me?
No. You're like me.
By the way,
you enjoy your beer and food.
Let me tell you, 2 years ago, I did go to the Spandau Ballet concert, Mick. And I, True and the Gold, I am a big fan. I didn't have the flick in the day, but I definitely like a bit of...
Look, I just want to say, Craig, Martin Kemp's there, and I only know that because Leeds have emailed me all week. It's going to be the greatest...
Tomorrow?
He's there tomorrow, yeah. Spandau Ballet, and honestly, it's an 80s festival at Headingley tomorrow.
Is Tony...
They're all there, yes, yeah. They're all there tomorrow.
Fantastic, I don't mind a bit of that.
That's Gary Everington, marketing, Leeds, your good friend Rob Oakes.
Fantastic.
Craig, they're there. They're doing... It's the 80s festival before the game.
I hope it's not just trying to deflect the results by getting bands on and pints. I walked into the corporate last week and we had 12 beers at our table and Joe and no one dared get into them. Because they were like, I think somebody's ordered it, Dad, and we share the table. We shared, and we're like, all right, we all stood there. Then I said, well, they might be free. They might be free. So Joe knocked one off and had one. And they said, yeah, it is free. It's free. Well, then it was good because when they got the bad result, everyone were too pissed to be bothered and it went bang on. So tomorrow we're all going. Our Steph will enjoy that, yeah?
Is that what it's come to at Leeds?
Sorry, I'm going to give you...
Go on.
Yeah, I'm lost. I can't sing.
Is that what it's come to at Leeds, Craig? Is that what it's come to at Leeds?
I never said that.
We'll get some 80s DJs and acts. We'll give you 12 free bottles. Here you go. Get through Huddersfield.
Regardless of the result, you are gold.
Well, look, let's keep it two on the field. Tuilo here, moved from halves to fullback. We saw what he did against Hull FC at the weekend. Absolutely fantastic. Masterstroke by Ian Watson. I know it's probably keeping... Ashall Botts ended up at Toulouse. Ashton Golding. Yeah, but look, Ian Watson...
Masterstroke by Ian because Leeds, let's forget, Leeds signed him for a lot of money.
Agreed.
And they didn't see enough in him. And now he's so... it's not great for Leeds again, that one, is it? So, hopefully...
Where do you see the game going, Craig? Because Leeds are under immense pressure.
I can't see any other result than Huddersfield getting the victory.
Wow.
I hope, I love, we're family supporters of Leeds, that's no hiding. And I love some of them lads. And I love some of them staff. And they're still the biggest club, mate. There's no doubt. But I think until they get sort of Jonesy seems to have got them all revitalised. I hope the lads... but how could you say Leeds going to beat Huddersfield tomorrow based on form? You'd have to be an idiot.
Correct.
There's no way Leeds are going to beat...
But can you sense that there is the turnaround is just around the corner? I mean... Honestly... You go watch Leeds a hell of a lot more than me, Craig. I won't be able to watch that game because it's obviously not the TV game tomorrow.
I still like to see more. I think they're going to need to announce the new. I mean, the rumour's right. I don't know if it is right. And again, I'm speaking.
If you're going down the Shane Flanagan route, that'd be a travesty. Just my personal opinion.
No. The word I've heard is that Gary's come back empty-handed.
Nobody wants it.
Well, I won't say that. I'd still say it's the best job in the world, so I'm going to debate with you there. But I think he's come back and he's at the moment, it's where it is, and there could be a plan too. So I don't know. Gary's the man in charge. He'll know all the answers. He's been one of the best, greatest administrators this sport's ever had. But I think Leeds tomorrow, Huddersfield on form will beat Leeds by 12 or 14. But you are gold, Mick. I'll have the prawn cocktail and hey, I'm not even going to watch the rugby. Come on. They'll be all dancing out of Headingley. If you're a supporter tomorrow and they get beat by 16, but everyone's singing everyone's singing songs and there's like a festival atmosphere, is that bad on the rugby that I
tell you what, it's a good deflection tactic by Rob Oakes.
Genius, Robert.
You might need 20 bottles though, and you might need ABBA for the next game.
There'll be no 20 bottles off me after last night, my son. That shit has whatever it was. That's not going to happen again.
Well, look, Huddersfield, a massive opportunity because Wigan and Saints are playing each other. So either Wigan or Saints are going to drop points. So Huddersfield, if they get the job done, they'll move into second spot in the table. What a season Ian Watson and Huddersfield having. The other game. Other games tomorrow, Wakefield against Castleford.
What a game.
That, again, you know, I'm looking at these games.
Yeah,
I'm kind of like thinking...
What band are on there?
I'm not quite sure. I think if I know Mr. Carter really well, he'll just have the pom-pom girls out.
Right, okay.
With a bit of Tannoy music. Sorry, Michael.
Right, okay.
We know you're tighter than cramp.
That's terrible. You were always asking to hear that.
No, look, me and Michael get on really well. In fact, I need to text Michael about something. I've not done it. I need to text him at the end of the show.
Right.
No, it's not a DJ gig. No. Jack Croft went to Barrow, so he wanted an appraisal, and I've not done it yet, so I apologise. I'll send you it. Craig, who's your money on? Because both coming off the back of 30 points.
I think Cass. I don't think Cass can afford to lose that game. I think Wakefield throw it out, and I thought some of their rugby at times is sublime. The way they got about 9 repeat sets against me. I don't know what it was, but it was fantastic. They just couldn't. But I think Cass have got to, I think Cass probably sounds daft this because you think, well, Wakey, it's a must game. But I just think for Cass it is a must game to win. And I think they probably will win by probably 6 to 8 points.
Wow. The other game on the Thursday, final game, is Warrington-Salford. That's huge. Again, every one of these games on the rival rounds, because of the clubs going in with Salford overachieving, Warrington underachieving. Darrell's lost the last 5 games. Even as a player and as a coach at Cass, he's never lost 5 in a row. He's never lost 6 in a row. If they lose that at the Halliwell Jones, Craig, on Thursday, he's going to be under so much pressure. And we highlighted earlier about trusting the process and give it time. The evidence is there in what Ian Watson's been allowed to build and create at Huddersfield. And I know Simon Moran really well, and I know Carl Fitzpatrick really well.
Whoa.
Darrell's not going to be...
You don't know Simon Moran really well. You've never met him.
Well, I go through Fitzy for me Man United and Tottenham tickets.
You're an acquaintance about food chain down the line. I can say I know Simon Moran well, he's my friend, but you can't say that, Mick, so don't even try that. Sorry about that, Sam.
Okay. Warrington-Salford.
Warrington have got to win it.
They have to. You can't have 6 in the bounce.
I think that the lads have had a bit of time off. I think they've been to a couple of day camp, and they said it went some really home truths, but were served either way. I think they've got to win the game, and I've got Warrington to win it by 8 or 10. I think unless Salford bring in some props, and I think they've got to do it quick. A few props who can get the yardage. I think that's where they suffer. They certainly can score tries. They certainly can probably stop tries in certain ways, but I don't see. They seem to lose the forwards battle after a little bit, and I think at Super League level, can you get away with not winning the forwards battle in Super League? Answer is no.
Correct.
Fortunately, you've got to win the arm wrestle before you can play. So I'd say field position for them is apparent. And I tell you what, it's weird with Salford, because I thought when Sneed went there, I said this to Ryan Brayley the other day, and I said, I thought you'd be all like set moves and putting kicks in to Joe Burgess, because Sneed's all about the kick, like they were at Hull. But they actually play a more open brand of rugby. I think they might go back to a bit of that field position, but they've got to be able to get the forwards to get in the field position. So I've got Warrington to win that by 10-12.
I tend to agree. I cannot see, especially after the soul searching and the pressure that Darrell and Warrington are going to be all under to get a result after that run of defeats. Because, like we say, Warrington, when you've got Wakefield above you in the playoffs, simply unacceptable for the money that Warrington are clearly spending. But from a personal point of view, Salford a fantastic season so far. They've been heavily overachieving, similar to Huddersfield. On the Friday, then, Hull Rovers, Hull FC. Again.
Do you know what? I potentially kept probably away from lads this week because I don't want to get involved. I've got strong players and got a lot
both
of
clubs.
players.
And
I have a lot of time for both clubs. I think Neil. I was going to meet Neil for something yesterday, and obviously I was entertaining it with the Sheets
at Newbury.
But you know what? I'm going to throw something here, and both clubs are going to be unhappy with this. But I think it'll come down to 2 points.
Wow.
And I think Rowan Mills or Jordan Abdul or Luke Gale will do a drop kick to win the game. I think it's down to the wire. You've got Hull's forwards and the way they play on set plays against the exciting players you see, Hull KR, who will just go at them from dummy half. If they get Parcel and Jez running early, game's over. But if Hull get the roll on, this is a last 3 minutes, and one of them halfbacks I've said will drop kick to win the game. And there will be a hero in Hull.
There we go, big ball prediction.
I want to finish with this, because every week you pick a shirt and I have to give a little...
Yeah.
Come on then.
Well, we've got Wigan Saints to do still. Wigan Saints.
Oh, God. I'll tell you what, I'll throw one in here, and just to fire up...
Well, how do Wigan beat St Helens? Because Christian Wolf will have done his homework. There's no Zach Hardaker. There's no Zach Hardaker, by the way. We don't want to really go into the ins and outs. Matty Peake basically just said in a press conference earlier on today, he's been dropped for failing to meet the standards set by the club. Very disappointing.
I know it's not that bad. It's all good.
Yeah.
You know, I've spoken. That's when I went out. It's all good. Right. I'm gonna throw one in here, and there's one team could probably beat him on a derby day. It'd be Wigan, because I can see Wigan. The referee's got a massive part to play in this game. Does he? If Saints get that first 20 minutes, Saints, it's all over with Saints. If they get you, like you said, but in a period time, it's all
I agree, like they did against Catalans.
Wigan are going to come out absolutely all guns blazing. You'd have Saints by 12-8 to beat them. Now, I think 7 times out of 10. But I'm going to take Wigan. I have a feeling Saints have got that much coming off. They've got the semi-final 2 weeks later against the same team. And I'll go for Saints in that. But I think this league match might mean more to Wigan than it does to Saints. And I think they can play a system. The big question is this. I've been asked this 3 times today. 3 top players rang me when we got talking. If Jai Fields is the man of steel and is the man, you're going to be seeing it because he's going to be tested the most. These'll test him. They'll put box kicks up to him, and this kick chase is the best kick. Listen to me, it's the best kick chase in the world. What Saints do against a kid who's going to have to come out of his yardage, where usually he can skip past his first man, he can go this. This won't happen against them. This ball will drop and he'll have 3 people hitting him within 1 second if it drops. Morgan knows when we're mid-air trying to take his head off, and you're going to get abs. If Jai Fields is going to be the man, you'll see this Friday, my friend, how good he is.
Wigan by how many, Craig? You've tipped Wigan.
6.
I'm shocked. 6. Wow. Just a quick one on the Championship. Batley against Dewsbury, Bradford against Halifax, Featherstone, Barrow. Oh, what a game. That could be Featherstone against Barrow. Barrow overachieving. You've got Widnes against Lee, Simon Finnegan and Widnes. They've fallen on the bite side, very similar to what Warrington are going through. You've got Sheffield against London. A huge battle at the bottom of the table there. London still looking for their first win of the season. And then Sunday afternoon, you've got Whitehaven against Workington.
Well, that'd be a great match.
That's going to be on TV as well at 7 o'clock.
I'll be watching that.
On Premier Sports.
Can't wait.
Bank Holiday Sunday, 7 o'clock. Wow.
I'll finish on this.
You can.
So every week
it's your show, Craig.
It's not, Mick. I've always just to help you.
Can't we pick the Bradford one? Where's the Bradford one?
No. This one is, every week we talk about one. So this is Jack Walker 2017 Grand Final top. Can you see it there?
Yeah, Castleford. Wow.
You got it?
What number was it?
31.
31, there we go.
And this was presented to me after the game by Jack, who had exploded that year. And there's a little story I've told before, but I told Danny Maguire that I thought this kid were coming who were going to be special. And Jack made his debut against Doncaster Challenge Cup and scored a hat-trick in 12 minutes at 17 years old. To think 8 games later, Jack was going to be thrust into the grand final in front of 70,000 with no experience, no big game, no... It's true, he did. If you look at the facts, he didn't play that many academy games that year. It's incredible what happened. In between that, his contract was... He had the contract talks, and we saw all the papers. Is this young man greedy? You know, when I thought it were a bit cheap of everybody when they did it. And Jack ended up actually coming to stay with us. You know, he become really close part of our family. You know, Jack still is. He's one of my, very close to my heart. And he spent about 8 months with us, and I like to think we did, we grew as a friendship, and he's part of our, Joe and Steph love Jack, Mary, everybody, it's part of the, he played that grand final, mate, probably as good as any debut grand final as I've ever seen, because Gailey said to me at week, he's going to get it. He's getting it every angle he's ever. And Jack never blinked. On the morning of the grand final, Danny Maguire texted me and said, "I've just had a phone call off Jack Walker." I said, "What's happened?" As if he got his boots. I said, "This." I said, "Is he nervous?" He went, "No, he needs a lift." So he had no nerves. He only wanted a lift. "Danny, can you take us to bus?" Danny went, "Are you kidding me? It's grand final morning, Jack. Not a care in the world." And I thought in the rain he performed as good as any. Honestly, I still see ball going up and I'm wincing, thinking, "Oh no!" And he just played. And then there were one, Mick, I don't know if you remember, he stepped 4 or 5 times, and I thought he could have scored one of the greatest tries grand final history, and he fell over. He literally went to beat the fullback, and I think it might have been Greg Eden, and his momentum fell over. And after the game, I can remember seeing him, thinking, how's this young man took all this in? Did he wear a scrum cap?
He did. He had the black scrum cap on. Yes,
and I can remember saying to him, and I can't believe now, looking back, if we said 17-year-old kid's going to play the grand final after 7 first-team games in any sport, they'd say. So I think what he did, and he's had 2 years of injuries, he's just getting back now. I think you start to see him play again, and I think, but I think what he did that day were probably the most unique debut season. To win a grand final like that.
At 17.
At 17. Now think about that, 17, a grand final. And then he went and he played against Melbourne in the World Club. We're at Melbourne.
Yeah, at AME Park.
At AME Park. And I can remember Gus Gold saying, we're hearing all the things about this young wonder kid and he's this and that. So ending this, because he's one of my loyal mates, and I actually love him, that Jack's one of real, I think I'm going to challenge Jack, and I think Jack can go on to be everything we dreamt about him doing, and I think he will. He's got his bit between the teeth, and I think we're going to see Jack Walker do some special things. Leeds have got to sort out the connections, the 6, 7, 9, and the 1. But when they do, I think Jack, I think one day he'll play for England.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. A nice positive way to end the show. It has been the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money, Rugby League TV.
You think that fit me, mate?
Well, it won't fit me.
Well,
I struggle to get an arm in, let alone me belly. But it has been the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money, Rugby League TV. Don't forget, we'll be back next week. And don't forget, if you've watched till this far into the show, we want to know who is your favourite Rugby League rival. It could be Workington, Whitehaven, Bradford, Halifax, Castleford, Featherstone, Warrington Saints, Wigan Saints, the Hull Derby, Hull FC against Hull Kingston Rovers. Let us know in the comments the reasons why, and next week we will look for the comments, and the one that stands out the most, you guess what? You'll win a signed shirt or a pair of tickets to a rugby league game of your choice. Once again, thank you for joining us. Please, when the link to the show goes live on Show Me the Money Twitter and Show Me the Money Facebook, please share it in all the groups and help us spread the word that we're here now, we're back, the full 80's back, and Craig's going to book the guests for next week. So next week's show, we will have some rugby league royalty with us. From myself, Mick the Game Caller Glale, and Craig, Show Me the Money Harrison. Enjoy rugby league and always keep it #positive.
You are gold, Mick. We're on. See ya. Been great.